The day has arrived, boys. This was always our destiny. Hey everybody, Riot has released upcoming changes for champions, items, potions, dragons, objectives, and a bunch of other things. However, before we get into this video, they've put a note here. Some shield heal adjustments for champ systems were added to the PvE. These aren't all the changes we're planning for 12.14 and future patches. If you see something in the PvE, don't trust that it's alone, that it's an isolated change, that other things won't happen with it. Only trust when Riot puts out notes like these, and I've compiled 3 of them from Twitter. Surprisingly hard to do, but anyway, these are the notes that we're going to go over in this video, and these are the notes that you should trust. Everybody got that? I'm not going to be speculating on PvE stuff or anything like that because it's unofficial. It could be reverted, and people have gone over that stuff before, made lots of drama, anger, just stupid things about that. They've done that before, and then I mean, some of these people are completely unscrupulous. They never go back, apologize, or say anything. They just cause a bunch of drama and go, grr, this is on the PvE, I hate it. So at any rate, let's start going through them. So these are champion changes and item changes. These are runes and potions, spells changes, stuff like that. And these are global objective changes. Okay, so let's go from the top. Aatrox's health per level has gone up by 10. The healing out of his ultimate on his E, and I'm assuming they're not touching the healing in his ultimate. This one has gone from 18 to 26 to 18 to 24% of damage as healing, which is a fairly decent nerf. About 8% of his healing is gone at level 13 once he maxes his E. His World Ender has gone from 25 to 55% increased healing to 25 to 45% increased healing. So from 55 to 45%. Once again, another decently good nerf. Now, I have run a lot of numbers on this, and basically the only way this doesn't end up being a nerf for Aatrox, basically the only way is if he kind of just gets burst down before he heals very much. This is a nerf for Aatrox, and it really only buffs him if he's not burst down basically instantly, which is pretty hard to have happen. These are nerfs for Aatrox. There's really no other way to describe it. Yeah. Rost is going from 99 to 109 health per level. By the way, because this doesn't include level 1, that means both these champions are getting 170 more health at level 18. At any rate, Rost's passive, now this is Red Cane. Red Cane's passive is going from 25 to 35% of damage dealt as healing to 20 to 30%. Now this is only from abilities, and this doesn't include the amount that his ult heals. He'll heal less on the damage from his ultimate, but the flat healing in his ultimate, this isn't being touched. So once again, there's basically no way this isn't a nerf unless the champion gets burst down from full with no counterplay, which would be even harder to do to Rost. So both these champions are eating fairly, I'm not going to say substantial, but they're probably both going to be adjusted up there soon. I see no way that these champions don't get nerfed from this, and neither of them are overpowered right now at all, particularly Aatrox. Wukong is getting, basically he heals from his passive. At max stacks, he was healing 5% health every 5 seconds. That's being nerfed to 3.5% health every 5 seconds. But the damage on his ultimate is going from 220 to 250. So his ultimate damage, not including the percent health damage, is going up by slightly above 10%. And he's losing some healing. I think Wukong was blatantly the strongest of any of these 3. And of anyone who needed compensation nerfs, it was definitely not Wukong. He's doing quite well right now. Quite well right now. Yuumi is just losing AP ratio on her heal. That's it. I don't think Yuumi needed compensation at all. She was quite frustrating, banned all the time, just constantly unfun for most players to deal with. The flat healing isn't going down, but the AP ratio is going down, and we'll go into the healing later. Now let me zoom in here more as we're getting to the bottom. So Janna, the heal and shield power granted by her E, that is going from 20% to 15%, but then the flat shield amount is going up. As to her ultimate, the early healing, not the late healing, so at rank 1 and 2 it's healing slightly more, at rank 3 it's healing the same, and the AP ratio is also going up. So Janna's losing a multiplier, but she's gaining a little bit of base. I need a look at this. Actually, I don't understand, is Janna overpowered or not right now? Yeah, Janna's quite overpowered right now. So I think once again Janna was a champion who didn't really need compensation, much like Wukong. Wukong got compensation, he didn't need it. Yuumi got no compensation, didn't need it. Janna's getting compensation, once again doesn't need it. I'm not sure how they're deciding, like, Aatrox and Rost barely, I mean, yeah, 10 health per level is like substantial, but it's only substantial because they're losing a large chunk of their healing. So I'm not sure why these two are getting compensated. I mean, not, you know what I mean. Wukong's getting overcompensated when he's overpowered. Yumi's not getting compensated. Janna's basically getting her stats back anyway. So I'm gonna be completely blunt. I'm not sure what's going on with Janna. This needs to be nerfed even harder. But they are nerfing enchanter items, which is fine because enchanters are, I'm looking at Diamond Plus right now. Enchanters are pretty dominant right now. Of the top 10, they make up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They make up 6 of the top 10. And to be honest, I think Ashe is only here because she's fun to play. Yeah. So the heal and shield power granted by Forbidden Idol, Ardent Censer, Mikael's Blessing, Redemption, Staff of Flowing Water, and Moonstone Renewer. All of these are going down. Moonstone Renewer, instead of capping at 5 stacks, will cap at 4. So instead of capping after 5 seconds, it'll cap after 4, meaning that in longer fights, enchanters are getting weaker here as well. That means instead of 25% heal and shield power, it'll cap at 20%. So that's it for champions and item changes. As for system changes, I agree with some of these and horribly disagree with other ones. Okay, so let's go through them. Potions are getting nerfed, which I'm not saying I disagree with, but it's a bit sus. The only issue I have here is that Longsword with 3 health potions or Longsword with refillable was getting a bit silly, having to chew through 450 health because someone went Longsword 3 health potions, or even having to chew through 250 health as someone with Longsword refillable who was just going to go back to base after hard pushing due to their longsword and then, you know, come back. That was a bit frustrating. So I'm gonna be honest, I'm not saying I hate this. It does seem a bit odd though. I think the champions that could start with longsword probably have a little bit too good of early games to where they didn't have to go Doran's Blade. Teleport's getting nerfed. I'm gonna be completely blunt. I'm out of, I have no outrage to give anymore. Oh boy, teleport is getting nerfed again. Top lane is literally useless. It has no point on the map. It does not impact the game at all. So they're nerfing teleport. Like, okay, I have no outrage left. If it sounds like I don't care, it's because I truly don't care. Top lane is just Ignite versus Ignite right now anyway. Only like Ornn goes teleport. Sometimes you see Gangplank with teleport. That's like it. Exhaust is getting nerfed in the early game. That makes sense. I actually do agree with this. Exhaust has been overpowered for quite some time, and it was overpowered because it allowed AD carries to not get one-shot. Now that everybody got the durability update, and AD carries don't need exhaust to stop people from one-shotting them, it's probably fine that even if in just the early game, it's probably fine that it goes down by a bit. Biscuit delivery is finally getting nerfed basically out of the game. The missing health and mana is going to 8%. The max mana is going to 40 from 50. So it's losing 2% health and mana. It's losing 10 max mana. Just so everybody knows, you got that max mana back instantly. So you'd always get 50 mana no matter what. Then you would get 10% of your missing health and mana. So this is a fairly substantial nerf to champions that were effectively using it to go infinite mana in the laning phase. You can only just grab Biscuit delivery and then you just don't have any laning phase mana issues anymore. So that's good. It will probably affect champions like Ornn who weren't overpowered but were relying on this to go infinite mana. But other champions like Gangplank who were definitely overpowered and using it to go infinite mana, those champions are going to be impacted by this one. Bone plating is going from a 45 to a 55 second cooldown, which is substantial. Conditioning is going from 9 armor and magic resist plus 4% to 8 armor and magic resist plus 3%. So here's the problem with this. At the low ranks, everyone goes conditioning. At the high ranks, nobody goes conditioning. I would really have liked it if Riot did something where, like, starting at level 2, you gain 1 armor and magic resist per level until level 10. So that, like, by level 10, you got 9 armor and magic resist. But then in return, you know, it was like a bit stronger early game where like you could get some stats in the early game, but it was a bit weaker in the late game because right now Bone Plating and Second Wind are in the same tier. So you can either go with the defensive rune in the early game to actually allow you to win the lane, or you could go with the late game rune. At the low ranks, they always go with the late game rune. At the high ranks, they always go with the early game rune. So basically the early, like the low ranks and the high ranks practically play different games in how tanky top laners are, which in my opinion actually impacts a lot of people's thoughts on things. At any rate, Guardian is going from 70 to 40 seconds cooldown to 90 to 40 seconds cooldown. That will definitely impact tank supports and their ability to actually keep their ally alive, which definitely that's going to impact a few champions here. Scorch is getting buffed. I'm really not sure why. Basically everyone who went into the blue tree took Scorch. Basically everyone. I don't think the blue tree was weak by any imagination. And I don't think that, like in bot lane, Scorch is being used and is still used all the time to poke people out. In top lane, Scorch is used all the time to poke people out. I'm not sure adding more poke is a good idea at the same time that you're nerfing potions, you're nerfing bone plating, you're nerfing biscuit delivery, and also they're nerfing second wind. Instead of 6 plus 4% missing health, it'll be 3 plus 4% missing health. Although that is a large nerf, it's not as large as it could be. It's, by my guesstimation, it's probably somewhere around a 15. I'm just literally bullshitting a number here based on what I'm trying to remember. It's probably like a 15% nerf to the rune's healing. But buffing Scorch while nerfing second wind while nerfing potions feels a bit fucky, right? In addition, they're buffing second wind from 7 lethality to 9, from 6 magic pen to 7. So the problem I have here is everyone's going to be flipping from going to the resolve tree, which I'm going to call the green tree. Everyone's flipping from the green tree into either the blue tree or the red tree. So everyone's going to drop their survivability runes and go into damage runes. In other words, the durability update is basically going to be undone because everyone's going to make themselves squishier to do more damage. The durability update is just going to go out the window. The only noticeable effects of the durability update are going to be that they finally nerfed Void Staff and Lord Dominic's, which is weird. It's weird to me that those are going to be the only lasting effects of the durability update coming up in a few weeks. Unflinching is getting nerfed, but I'm not sure how I feel about this either. If they were nerfing Unflinching, but they weren't nerfing Second Wind and Bone Plating and stuff like that, I would be fine with it. But nerfing Unflinching and Second Wind and Conditioning and Bone Plating, it's like, yeah, I think Unflinching was a little bit overpowered. So it's going from 10 to 30 tenacity and slow resist to 5 to 25%. So it's losing 5% flat. So at max HP, it's basically giving you nothing. And once again, I'm just not sure how I feel about that because they're doing a lot of nerfs here on the green tree. They're doing a lot of nerfs on people being able, like, I understand that during the laning phase, people are probably too tanky, but in my opinion, that was pretty much due to Doran's shield. When champions got healthier and champions got tankier, Doran's shield started to become the dominant item choice for first item. Now the problem is that meant that everyone was going Doran's shield and dropping Doran's blade and Doran's ring. The issue here, right, is that if you just move Doran's shield down to like 35 health regen instead of 40, you wouldn't have to nerf this other stuff. You're nerfing everything, in my opinion, because Doran's shield is a little bit overpowered right now. But okay, they also nerfing Time Warp Tonic. So Time Warp Tonic is dead. Biscuit is basically dead. There are some champions who are still gonna go Biscuit because getting even after the nerf, getting 120 max mana is basically all they need. Getting some mana regen during the laning phase is basically all they need. But Time Warp Tonic is definitely dead. Going from 4% movement speed to 2%, Time Warp Tonic will not do anything. It's used even now sparingly on champions like Jax to try to get just enough movement speed to run people down in the laning phase. But at 2%, it won't even be noticeable. So those are the champions. These are the runes and potions and some of their spells. Now we're looking at objective bounties. Now, in addition to the teleport nerf, which I was talking about earlier, they're nerfing teleport and then they're buffing all dragons. And if it sounds like if it sounds like I don't care, it's because, like, look, I'm outraged out. I have no more outrage to give. Like, oh boy, top lane's useless, and now it's even more useless, and now it's even shittier. Like, oh no. We go from doing absolutely nothing to we found we can do even less. It's like, man with no more hope finds little last bit of hope that he can still lose. So this is our little last hope that we could be impactful top lane still being lost. Mountain Dragon's going from 6% armor magic resist to 9%. Ocean Dragon's going from 2% missing health to 3% missing health healing. Infernal Drake's going from 4% AD and AP to 6%. Hextech Drake is going from 6% attack speed and ability haste to 9% attack speed and ability haste. Cloud Dragon, they're just straight doubling from 3.5 slow resist and out of combat movement speed to 7% slow resist and out of combat movement speed. Can you imagine that? 7% out of combat movement speed early game. Oh, good lord. Then Cloud Dragon Soul is being buffed, which is probably fine, but let's be honest, it's still probably useless. From 10% bonus movement speed after ulting to 15%, which is just like, when you look at the other souls and how they basically win the game once you activate them, and then you look at Cloud Soul, it's like, once they activate it, they'll do this. Okay, cool. Now these changes, I'm not 100% on what they're doing and why they're doing it, but I'm sure it's for a reason. I'm not going to go over the exact numbers, but basically dragons are going to be much tankier. A good chunk tankier. Before, it's like the first and second dragon will be, this is like 20 to 30% tankier. Probably a bit more than that. I'll say like 30 to 40% tankier, but after transforming, they're going to be like 50% tankier. So the first and second dragon will be a decent chunk tankier. The third plus dragon are going to be like 50% tankier. But the amount of damage dragons do is being reduced by like 30%. So dragons will deal much less damage, but have much more tankiness. The only thoughts I have is maybe they were doing it to make them like less easy to backdoor, that you could like rush them less, and maybe to make it so they do less damage so more champions could clear them without dying. I'm honestly not really sure what they're doing with this, and I don't understand. They haven't put out like a reasoning. There's no dev diary. They're not talking about like what the purpose of these changes are. They're just literally showing what the changes are, and I'm not 100% sure on their reasoning, so I don't want to speculate. But again, my only thoughts are they don't want champions like Nunu just sort of doing like Nunu parkour, just like snowballing around, quickly doing it, consuming, beating it, smiting, consuming a second time, and then just doing like Grand Theft Dragon and just like fucking like, just, I don't even know, just drilling out of there or something. I don't know. I have to mention that's what they're trying to stop. Champions like Shyvana just running in there, killing it in like 3 seconds and then running away. I don't know though. I don't know. I'm not sure why the damage is going down. So yeah. Elder Dragon is getting tankier, but doing less damage as well. Once again, not sure why, but okay. Now, here's the thing. At least they're throwing a bone to top lane. Top lane's getting a bone. They're not getting like a big buff, but they're like, oh yeah, Rift Herald now gives like 200 local gold. Whoopee. So now if you kill Rift Herald, it'll be like killing one champion, I guess. Which is nice. I'm not saying it's bad. It'll definitely mean if I take Rift Herald and you take a minion wave, I'll actually end up ahead. And that's probably for the best, but it still kind of sucks that you need a jungler to take Rift Heralds, but you don't need a jungler to sneak dragon. Because if you try to take Rift Herald without a jungler, the opposing jungler is, I mean, it takes so long to do that you get my point. If you play top lane, you get my point. Some champions can try to sneak it, but the vast majority of the time, if you take too long, you'll just end up getting 1v2'd, and that's why a lot of top laners just will not go for it. I see a top laner take Rift Herald like once every week. It's just not common. Now, if you take the first Herald, the second Herald you take will, which is called, by the way, the Rift Herald Mercenary. The second Rift Herald Mercenary. Did you guys know that's what its name was? The Rift Herald Mercenary? I don't know. Now it's 75% more health. So if you take the first one and you never take the second one, no change. If you take the first one, then the second one is 75% more health. Now the eye on the back should be doing % health damage, and it's when it charges into turrets, that also does 60% health damage. So to be honest, I'm not really sure what the purpose of this change is. Other than maybe to make it tankier for the second charge, so it can't get like AoE down. I don't, once again, I don't know. But that's all these changes. I'm not going to dwell on them too much, because a lot of these changes, we need to see the full list of what they're doing to really, hopefully, put a lot of these into perspective. Hopefully, they're not just nerfing teleport and buffing dragons at the same time. Hopefully there's more coming to top lane than just Rift Herald buff. Anyway, that's about it. If you want a real suggestion, Riot, make it so the eye on the back of the Herald can continue to spawn all the way to low health. That way, a top laner can secure Rift Herald. Even if the opposing jungler comes in, he can still hit the eye on the back and secure it, so that smiting isn't the only way to lock it down. And also, that would make it faster to kill, so a top laner could potentially actually kill a Rift Herald before the opposing laner like types like, did your top laner AFK? Because, you know, if he's gone for like a minute, people are gonna be like, right? So what do you guys think about this one? Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, give me your thoughts down below, okay? And what do you think? What do you think? Are these good changes overall? Do you think there's things that we're missing here? Do you think that there's some other things happening? Are they just buffing all damage and nerfing all survivability again? Are they just destroying top lane again? Man with no hope finds small last little bit of hope he can still lose, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, thank you, my Patreon supporters. If you want to support me on Patreon, go to the link in the description. You can see that. Yeah, just join my Patreon. Thank you to all my YouTube members. You guys are great. If you see someone with a sword in their name, they're a YouTube member. Congratulate them. If you just like this video, leave a comment. If you subscribe, I thank you too. Thank you, everybody. And as always, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Goodbye, everyone.